Good evening, everybody. This is considered a very mixed game, but I know a lot of people say, well, Investigations 2 is the best game in the entire franchise, so like, you gotta play the first one, which I agree. If you're gonna get to 2, you gotta play 1. I guess I'm expecting a similar experience in terms of some things will be good, some things will be not so good, and we'll just go from there. Make sure the defendant's found not guilty. What other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all. Who's talking? That may be true, but why? Why go this far? Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough, but a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. Prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be. The fuck is that? Why did he have like a thin... Oh shit. Okay, yeah, that's already significantly different. Why did he have like a thin headband on? What was that supposed to be for? Shooting guns instead of shooting hoops, but why? Why couldn't we just take it to the court to settle this? It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. I hope Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office and keeping it clean. Oh boy. The door is unlocked. Detective Gumshoe? What's the smell? It's very familiar. Blood? What the fuck, Gumshoe? I told you no more murders. I can't keep covering for you. What the? Oh, that person is very, very dead in my office. That's problematic, to say the least. What is the meaning of this? Freeze! Put your hands up in the air, motherfucker! Oh, it's not a police officer. Nice revolver. Identify yourself. What a badass. Shut up. You've got some nerve committing murder in a prosecutor's office. Is that a threat? Let me make one thing very clear. What? No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one. My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I'm a fucking badass. Jesus Christ. And I work as a prosecutor in my local district. Little did I know that upon my return home after a month abroad, I would be thrust into a multitude of cases in some very frantic and busy days. There are sprites! There's sprites. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so cool. They will get away with committing murder in a different office. If you had chosen the office next door, maybe then, at that point, but unfortunately for you, you chose my office. I'll be interested in knowing why he didn't just shoot Edgeworth. This actually, like, has that nostalgic feeling to it that takes me back to a time where I played games that looked like this. They look good. He's just sitting there like, can you motherfuckers hurry it up? I have some work to do. I always loved his desk. It's the same desk from before, right? I've finished photographing the victim's body, sir. Very well. Please continue your investigation. Yes, sir. Not gonna lie, those are some cool outfits for a forensics officer. Ah! Mr. Edgeworth, sir, are you okay, sir? Hi. Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene. When I heard that a murder had taken place in your office, I ran up here straight away. This is Dick Gumshoe. He is a detective with the local precinct, and the one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being. In fact, he seems to handle every fucking murder case I'm a part of. You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt? No, I'm perfectly fine. However... Ah! Look what I did to your office! It's totally trashed! I'll say. The culprit sullied my floor with dirt rather well. No one gets away with tracking mud into my office. Whoa, sounds like you're getting really burned up over this whole thing. This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve it. Oh, that's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating. Agreed, our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. Speaking of things that pique my curiosity, why of all places did the murder occur in my office? Is it really a coincidence the murder took place in my office? I get this nagging feeling that this is something important to keep in mind. Yeah, I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you? No, not really. Especially because of this. The key to your office? For security reasons, this office's door has a lock built into it. What do you mean, sir? Oh, that's really funny. He's doing the same thing that he did in the other games. It's this kind of the side-ish profile instead of him being directly in front of you. The whole thing where he's never looking into your eyes. That's a nice touch. That's a nice touch. I like that. If you think about it carefully and use logic, it should become clear to you. Logic? Never heard of it, sir. By finding the connection between two pieces of information and connecting them, new information is born. That is the end result of using logic. So how do you use it? Okay, I know that they're just like explaining the game to you, right? But I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that before. So how do you use logic? Question mark? First, I recall the information through the logic button. I have this button in my head that I use, and then connect them together. Okay. I need this emote. See, that's him touching his logic button. This is what he's doing. Every time he does this, he's touching his logic button. I like it. Ah, okay. Wait, select to, wait, do I gotta, okay, confirm it, and then confirm it. Oh, and then I can lose health, okay. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks, which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Ergo, it's impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as mere coincidence. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after? Why did this happen in my office? What was the killer after? You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, the information doesn't line up properly. I may stray far from the truth as well, but if I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. And then, if I'm too bad, my game will be over. Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir. Oh, if you ever feel lost and want to talk, just touch the partner button, okay? I'll give you great, precise advice as an ace investigator. I'm sorry, I couldn't finish that sentence. Oh, something to try later if I have free time, I suppose. Please touch my partner button. All right, so do I like, is it like point and click? Oh, hey. Files are all over the floor, sir. They probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer. Files are a mess, pointing to a struggle between the victim and the killer. Yep. Oh, and I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. So, this confirms that either the room was never locked in the first place, or that there's more than one set of keys, and that Gumshoe had the second set. There's gotta be at least two there, which means they could have gotten the second set of keys from Gumshoe, or it's also possible that there's then a third set of keys. Well, I water the flowers every day, just like you requested, sir. I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he have a life? This. No, my chessboard! No! Copying a key is easy, but don't you need the original key? Unless you had like a 3D printer and the schematics of the key? which I'm pretty sure were not a thing in 2009. It could have been lockpicked, yes. It's just odd to me that Edgeworth didn't really mention that as like a possibility yet, because that would be the other thing that came to mind, right? Either they had a key or they were able to pick the lock. And then why would they go through the trouble of picking the lock or obtaining a key? And all set up, ready for when you got back. I figured we could play a few games. I had no idea you were interested in chess. I mean, I had no idea you were interested in getting your ass whooped at chess. I'm actually pretty good at checkers, so I thought I'd give chess a try. In that case, I suppose I can set some time aside after we solve this case. Well, I don't expect the games to tax my mental acuity much. Hey, you cannot make any assumption about another person's ability to play chess. You would be surprised. Watch out for the teacup fragments there, sir. That killer's going to pay. This tea set. Yikes, you're really mad over this. I liked his reaction there. This tea set is very dear to me and my heart and can only be bought in England. It costs more than your whole month's paycheck. What? I feel like the killer's wasted one of my monthly paychecks. I hope we can solve this case quickly. I'd like to return relaxing on this sofa. Okay. I hope we're able to solve this very soon. I'd like to return to relaxing on this sofa. This one right here. Pointing. Edgeworth works hard and he rests hard, apparently. That thing looks a billion times softer than my mattress at home. Can I sit on it too? Just for a little while, sir. Detective Gumshoe, you know I can't allow that. Your ass screws would just ruin it. Until this case is solved, neither of us has time to spare, let alone rest. We cannot sit for the entirety of this investigation. You're right, sir. I'm gonna work hard and be a real trooper to the end. Even once this case is over, I don't think he can afford to take any time off. Yeah, I wonder why. How's it coming along? Please, I need absolute silence. Fingerprint lifting is a delicate art. Well, I never. It's been a while since I've sat at this. Oh, how I've missed you. It's so tiny that it looks newer than when I first bought it. Oh yeah, that thing's so polished that it makes mirrors jealous. He'll probably sit on it and try to put something on it. It's gonna be like, shh. I can't keep even a stack of papers on here. Don't tell me you had no other work the entire time I was away, detective. My job is to protect your office, sir. And you did such a good job protecting it that a murder occurred in it. That's harsh, sir. I have to admit the desk has never looked better, so I guess I can't dock his pay. Well, I just think it's ridiculous that he's like, oh man, I don't think the poor guy can take any time off. And then he's like, well, I guess I can't dock his pay for this one. Like, well, fucking no duh, because you're the one who's docking his pay. What have we here? Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? Or maybe it's just a separate gun that he dropped. Yeah, why did he? Okay, that's really interesting. So he backed up, decided to drop it, and then ran? Like, what would be the point of that? He planted some evidence on there to divert you from who the true killer is. He thought perhaps not having the gun on his person would make it easier for him to escape. If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here. I think I've seen one of these before. Care to enlighten me as to where? The movies! Oh, I know. I was issued the exact same model. I think. I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. But now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I don't use mine much, except in emergencies, so that's why I didn't recognize it. Don't you have to put it on yourself every day, though? Maybe he doesn't walk around with it. Maybe he just keeps it in his desk. So question for you guys, because you would know better than I do. Does anybody know whether their local precincts use revolvers? Because while that is kind of badass, that seems very impractical compared to just like having a Glock or something with a clip to it that you can drop, reload. But I'm not a gun expert. Okay, that's probably uncomfortable. Just talking right behind him. You have anything to report? He just smacks him on accident because he doesn't see him there. So yes, sir. Nothing out of the ordinary right now, sir. I don't know what accent that's supposed to be. And yet there's something out of the ordinary right in front of my eyes. Talk about a contradiction. Something out of the ordinary, huh? I should look around a bit more. Probably have to look at the body, I'm assuming, right? They finished photographing the body, so it should be alright to examine this area. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Okay. Let's see here. Did he get shot? dick. No, I'm pretty sure it's just above the dick. But still, that's a little too close for comfort. In that situation, just let me bleed out. There's blood all over his lower abdominal area. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene. Edgeworth's my favorite character. The most fun I had, like, as the player character was as Edgeworth in Trials and Tribulations. You felt so powerful. And the way he kept saying psycho locks was hilarious. Yeah, Edgeworth's character development's really good. Because I fucking despised him at first. What do we have here? Yeah, I think I've seen one of these before. It's a police badge, detective. Oh, hey, I have the exact same thing, actually. What a coinkydink. 100% buy into Gumshoe dropping a coinkydink. Let's take a look inside. I am always amused by these names. I do sympathize with his inability to grow facial hair correctly. That looks awful. Mr. Bunny Faith, it would appear that our victim was a detective just like you. The revolver, the standard model used by detectives. Could it have belonged to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time? Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What a fucking asshole. That's some John Marston shit. Lie still. Mr. Edgeworth, sir. This guy's wearing a gun holster. So it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him. Wait, but we don't know that it fired, because like that was another possibility that it was his gun and it was struggled out of his hand, but doesn't mean that was the gun that was fired. Let's see what else we can find out about this revolver. To think that it's so easy to take a life with just the pull of a trigger. You know, I can't ever see myself really liking guns. Oh, but I love the ones they use at track and field meets to start races. You take off before it's fired, everyone always ends up following your lead. To chase you down for a full start, detective. Now that you mention it, even when I finish first, I always wind up in last place. Looks like only one round was fired from this. Oh, so the killer killed the victim with just one shot after wrestling the gun from him? Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? We have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility. Well, the bullet went right through him. Shouldn't we be able to find the bullet? I guess it's about all we're going to find out. We should send the body to Jim! Why, oh why? How could this have happened to a guy like you? Are you alright? Don't touch me, leave me alone, just let me be. Sorry, but I can't do that. Just barged in my fucking office. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body, don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh. Look at him. Jim looks like he's just turned in for the night. Sure, just in a bloodstained suit, pal. Wow, considering he was just utterly devastated, he looks very happy with life right now. This fucking guy, though, holy shit. I know I look good. Where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor, Mr. What's-His-Fuck? Why, yes I am. I'm Jacques Portsman, prosecutor. Jim here was my partner in crime busting. What is that look even supposed to be? Cause he's still kinda smiling. It's almost like he tried to tell a joke, but no one laughed. He's like, oh shit. He's a prosecutor who walks around with his gold medals around his fucking neck. And again, this thin headband, which that's not useful. Headbands are useful, not thin headbands like that. That headband isn't gonna soak up any fucking sweat. I guess the only reason to have it is to make sure his hair doesn't get in the way. His fucking apparently like Super Saiyan hair he would have otherwise. I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I am also a prosecutor. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. So you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office. Yes, that is correct. Then it was you. You're the one who killed Jim. Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not. I know how things work around here. High prosecutor's office doors all have locks built into them, and only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door. That is correct, however, I was not the one who killed your partner. I mean, yeah, if I were the killer, I'd say that too. Yeah, Mr. Edgeworth has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the one who could get in here was me. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it was you then, you're Jim's killer. No, wait, pal, you got it all wrong. Everyone calm the fuck down. Mr. Portsman, correct? If you are a real prosecutor, you should know to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions? All right, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little too hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know? Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? Now how about a handshake to seal the deal? I don't shake hands. I have a feeling this handshake's gonna... Something about this handshake is fishy. A pleasure to work with you. You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on then. It's your room after all. Thank you, I intend to. I just want a little more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there, sir? Oh, I thought they, like, did some weird, like... I want you to capture this scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner, Jim. Oh, good God. Are you fucking kidding me? I should probably give them some space, but good lord. I don't think these connect, but they could. They could have been after a file. Ow. That hurt. Oh, I don't think I looked at this yet. Ah, your jacket, sir. What's it doing on the floor? It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing a round. So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well. Oh yeah, that's right. So there's at least 2 shots. So that gun may not have been the murder weapon. The gun he shot might have been the one he dropped, and that would make sense then as to why he shot the gun. However, that plan seems really bad because once you see there's another gunshot in the office, once you be like, okay, there were 2 shots. There's only 1 shot fired from this gun. Why doesn't this add up? They dared to shoot the ultra special jacket that you made your prosecutorial debut in? But if they had shot through it, it would have been a disaster. It's not worth getting worked up over, Detective. Not when there's something more here. Oh, like what? I take it you haven't noticed it yet, Detective. There is a giant contradiction right here in front of us. Really? Did I say contradiction? He must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him. I have my own methods and I will conduct this investigation my way. When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. This is it. The bullet hole's where the contradiction lies. This is how I do things. Eureka! This bullet hole is the contradiction. What do you mean, sir? It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim. Okay. I love Edgeworth. Anybody who uses the word felled to have described someone who was, like, taken down is a legend. However, this gun was only fired once. Hey, that's true too. Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight? By the way, I noticed something, sir. Yes? What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame? Oh, that? It's a secret safe. A secret safe? Oh, I smell money. I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. Now, if you could kindly move this frame out of the way. Roger that. Talk about dusty. No idea there was a safe here, all right? I've kept it clean for you, sir. So when did you put this thing in? It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one. Really? I had no idea. Well, that's why it's a secret. Well, only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence. Except every prosecutor knows the other prosecutors have one. So what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth? Right now, nothing. Nothing at all. Gotta make sure. My framed photo of Mr. Right is still in here. Yep, see? Nothing. Nothing at all. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session. That's it. Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams. I won't rest until I'm inspecting every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Now this is odd. You found something, sir? This keypad, don't you find it to be a bit too clean? Yeah, there's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, forensic scientist.
Yes, sir.
Could you please dust this area for fingerprints?
You got it, sir.
Couldn't find, let alone lift, a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well. As I thought, it appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly play connect the dots with the information we have. I believe I've figured out what the murderer was after. Well, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. I mean, the signs of the struggle would just mean that somebody found them and caught them in the act, right? Ow. There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the results of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Okay, so that was what I mentioned earlier, but it could be because I was wrong that one time. I just assumed that the game was like, nope, that's not right. But that makes sense. It was just more pertinent later after further facts were found. Oh, you mean like it could be from when the killer tried to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir. I'm gonna show files like you've never seen before, even at a library. Sure. Let's give that a try. Why do all the good ones always die so young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do is search for the truth. And so what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? It's funny how like thin his headband is, but on his sprite, it's so damn prominent. First, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it. Here, let me help. So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go, despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal. Okay, done. Except for the blood. It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here. Oh, the bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh. I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. And then the guy fell onto the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kind of grossed me out. Detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now. But you know I'm no good with blood, sir. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. Look at this motherfucker's badge. Holy shit. That's funny. Phoenix's is much less grand, but he likes to proudly present it on his jacket, whereas Edgeworth's is actually better, but he keeps it in his pocket. Although it does seem like a contradiction given how Edgeworth dresses normally. It's not like he doesn't enjoy standing out. Victim's handprints. He must have tried to support himself with his hands here after being shot. There are prints on the floor, too. Those must have been made when, unable to stay standing, he dropped to the floor. It appears that the victim was in a sitting position here after being shot. Oh, so that's why the seat of the victim's pants has blood on it. That would be the logical conclusion. So this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim's, For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file spine indicates that the files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. Then I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. The killer moved the body because it was leaning against the bookshelf. The blood on this guy's pants proves that pretty well. In a sense, I suppose. See, I'm not completely useless, Mr. Edgeworth. I built them all back, just as they should be, sir. Does it look like anything's missing? Although it does look like the killer moved the body to flip through my shelves. I wonder if they found what they were looking for. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So, what I see as the issue here is that he was shot when he was sitting, and it was over here, but the blood all came down here. I mean, he got shot in the dick, so like, there could be like a downward projection there, but would it go this low? If standing, he would have his hands here? Like, I don't think so. That's weird. Or that the killer, what's-his-fuck, must be really tall, and this guy is really short. You don't understand? You see, therein lies the contradiction. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, it'd be nice if you just admit when you're wrong. Well, that wasn't a mistake. That was good. That was me keeping you on your toes, detective. Yes. Yes, keeping you on your toes. There's clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, sir? You don't see? Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the dick, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, sir? That would be illogical. The victim leaned against the shelf here after being shot, which suggests he was standing when he was shot. And that means... Wait, what does that mean, sir? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, detective. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption. And it was this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that caused this problem with the bullet hole's position? The order of the files, because it should have been over this way then, right? I believe the order of the files is a bit off. You might put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually, I think the labels on the files are wrong, sir. Oh? Yeah, you see here how the files that were shot begin with the number 0? What are those doing all the way down there after 1, 2, and 3? That's really weird. Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They are exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. My mind's eye. Yeah, okay, bro. Yeah, your mind's eye, okay. Weird flex, but okay. The numbers are all out of order. Those white binders are special, so they are arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Aha, so that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out. Do you think it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved? They've finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why we wouldn't be. If you would, please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith, and then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. Exactly, and then proceeded to shoot the victim. Well, why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice, once before and once after the crime, but why? As I expected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. We figured out that the killer went through your bookshelf twice. Indeed, there are many things the killer did that just don't make sense. But to figure out the whys, we need more information. This! What is that? It's 11037. Why does it say Gumshoe on there in blood? Actually, it says Gum-Ho, but we can just assume the middle book it has an S on it, I guess. I'd say it's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Okay, Mr. Was that Dustin Prince that did that? That wrote the, like, perfect fucking cursive with a dude's hand that has a broken neck? Oh my god. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me! Say something, sir! It appears that one of my files was stolen. Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation? Is this what the killer was really after? Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end, and this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me! You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you are going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words, they're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it. I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude, and there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Further, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice. Thumbs up. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice and he's calling for his killer's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portman? There is no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I will find the flaw in this man's logic and expose it with credible evidence. Rebuttal. If he shot him dead, how would he have been able to write Gumshoe behind his body, behind himself? Not only that, but he wrote the letters in blood and then took that one file? But then if he had took the file after the fact, he would have noticed that it said Gumshoe. Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there's a serious flaw in your logic. Bringing up a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem, I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking, I get it. Ha 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 ha. If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible. What's impossible, Mr. Portsman? Nothing. The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines. It's possible that they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think that's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name were where the file should be as proof. Yeah, I mean, the S is gone. There's only half of an H. If Detective Gumshoe really was the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could have overlooked his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Gasp! Man. That is the face of a man who's fucked. But I do think in a lot of cases the prosecution hasn't met its burden of proof, at least by US law standards. But the judge is just like, I think this very shallow argument is exactly what I needed to render a guilty verdict. Which means, what exactly? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low. I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see. I'm gonna have them under arrest in no time. Well, Mr. Portsmith, Portsman. You're so insignificant, I mispronounced your name. Brilliant, absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic gold. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. You win some and you lose some, that's how life goes. Not everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. But you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up, however. What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. Oh, damn it. But Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal. What the fuck was that? Hallelujah. What the fuck? Oh, I love myself so much. You see, it had to have been him. That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I sense that you still have something to say? What are you doing? Well, I was thinking, did you know there's one other person with a key to this office? One other person? Hey, you there. Yes, sir, what is it, sir? You kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal, don't! What's wrong with him all of a sudden? Oh, he got her quick. Oh, god damn it! I believe she needs no introduction. I've called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security. Oh, Maggie's so cute! Look at her little track jacket. And she does the same thing as in the game, but it's a side profile just like Gumshoe. Oh, why people always trying to dunk on Maggie? I mean, yeah, look at the Blue Badger's dead eyes. It just, even with her wearing it, it doesn't change. Detective Gumshoe, sir. Maggie, fuck. I knew it was Maggie once I saw Gumshoe go. They're like, oh shit, here we go. Miss Bird is the security guard on watch tonight. I see, and your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key, which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you are not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe,
And the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bird.
Oh shit, here we go.
How dare you? I would never sneak into someone's room.
That's right, I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me. That's right, I did it.
Can we take that as a confession, detective?
Oh, well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was, you'd have no problems with that, right?
Please refrain from flying off the handle, detective. There's no need for such theatrics. Listen to your boss, detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime, and for one simple reason. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect, on top of which she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. Hallelujah, praise the Lord.
So you're saying she used the master key?
Incredible incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say?
That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well.
That was then, this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me.
I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Byrne who could have had the master key. It seems that the only way to get Mr. Portsman to give me more details is to press him. Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key?
There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight she's it. Isn't that right, Mrs. Bird?
Well, I'm not a Mrs. I miss, but, true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir.
Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean?
Yes, moving on, I'd hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated.
What do you mean unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal.
But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Ha ha ha, I love my double negatives, plus I hate wasting time.
Should I hear Miss Byrne out?
Yes, of course.
Not so fast. I too am interested in hearing what Miss Byrne has to say.
Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies.
I'll be the judge of that. Miss Byrne, if you please.
I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir.
What do you mean by missing?
Not in my possession, stolen, out of sight, out of mind, I don't know. As in, it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it.
Mr. Portsman, I believe this to be an important piece of testimony, don't you?
Oh, I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words.
I'm not lying, sir.
Objection! If that's the case, then I'd like to know, why do you have the master key now?
I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir.
A likely story, and where is your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again.
I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it.
Yeah, pal. Trust me, you don't want to test just how bad her luck is.
Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth.
But you still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Edgeworth's office.
Her motive? Didn't we already establish that it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe.
It is as Mr. Portsman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards a motive of theft.
Okay, it's more than just theft though. Why would she steal it? What was there that she needed? Because it's not like it was money, that would have been easy. Monetary gain. But as you said, there's no money there. And she took a file. God, please don't tell me old bag is in this game.
I concur that the culprit's motive appears to have been thievery, however.
What is he doing?
The fuck is he doing? Establishing dominance.
However, with regard to the investigation of the bookshelves and safe,
he's so distracting. Hey, good thinking, asking for my opinion on the matter.
Would it be too much for you to allow me to complete a full sentence? I thought we had established Detective Gumshoe's innocence pretty thoroughly.
It was just the theory, one hypothesis among the many possibilities. I mean, I had my doubts about Miss Bird from the very beginning.
If that's the case, then why didn't you mention her first?
Now, don't make that face. See? There goes the truth running the other way. Let's pick up the pace and see if we can't catch up to it.
I don't think you're catching my drift.
But we are in agreement that the detective isn't the killer, right? If so, then I hope you understand what I say.
Ayy.
That since she's the only one who could have opened your office door.
Don't you think it's a bit early to be jumping to conclusions?
Are you saying there's another way to open the door other than with the master key? Oh, I get it. Perhaps you had a spare made for someone else?
I'll have you know, I've never made a spare. So what are you insinuating?
Nothing. Guess I should have known better than to suggest that someone like you would.
Is there anyone in this district who hasn't at least heard of Detective Gumshoe?
Good point. He's practically a celebrity among us prosecutors.
Really? I never knew I was so talked about, sir.
We're holding our collective breath, you know? For when you screw up so badly that you're literally chased off the force.
Wait, what? Is that true, Mr. Edgeworth? No, of course not. That's hogwash. Phew, don't scare me like that. I almost had a heart attack there. And Lord knows I can't pay for the medical bills. Because we're not in Japan, we're in the US. By dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumho?
I figured that whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him. And just the act of choosing his name is proof enough that the two knew each other well.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence. He's doing it in the fucking background.
Objection!
I knew it was simple. Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bird was set on stealing something?
Why not? It's the truth after all. Spin! It was also by your logic we came to the whole thievery conclusion anyway.
That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe, existence of which is only privy to prosecutors.
Oh! God!
I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was a part of her cunning plan.
But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything else upside down.
I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted.
God!
Yeah, even I don't know about the safe, pal. That means there's no way May could have known about it either.
Then are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor?
Interesting conclusion. That's definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now?
I. Curses, what made you?
What's with the angry face all of a sudden?
It's all my faults.
What do you mean?
It's Jim. He knew about the existence of the secret safes.
What did you just say?
We were partners, like inseparable conjoined twins. That's why I told him. I filled him in on the secret safes. Thumbs up.
Then that means...
Yeah, I know. I'd only just told him to. Obviously, it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it. But the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim.
Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief?
And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you? Miss Maggie Bird.
Excuse me?
I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going a bit too far even in your risky profession.
What the? You're still accusing Maggie of the murder?
Yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim who had probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it?
No! I couldn't! I could never do something like that! Not even as a security guard, sir. Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have a key to the office.
Just precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key.
Ah!
Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here without us, unless you retrieved it from Jim after you killed him.
Mr. Portsman, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief?
I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense and it not be me. I mean, that's the only way for everything else to make sense.
Has he no honor?
I love that the sprite does the exact same thing as him, though. That's a nice touch.
No, then I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out?
You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office.
But I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You are all suspects to varying degrees and therefore ineligible to run this show.
Listen, pal, how many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the culprit.
Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself.
But, sir,
We have no choice but to accommodate his request for now. Ah, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful.
Mark my words, Mr. Portsman, we will meet again.
If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Ha! Now don't disappoint me, you hear?
I thought we had him. I thought we had him right there, and that was just gonna be the end. Aw, Maggie's outfit's super cute. I like it. I love it.
What is with that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable.
Please maintain your professionalism, detective.
I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir.
We've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir.
True. So then what now?
Looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch.
Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway.
Really, sir?
For example, this hallway. The linchpin of his argument against Miss Bird is related to the Master Key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door.
Here is the file.
It's...
Isn't that the missing O series file, sir? Or 0 series?
No doubt about it. The bloody letters make it mark it clear as day. There seem to be a few pages missing.
So what are these O files about, sir? I guess they've got something worth stealing in them, huh?
Not particularly, it's just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine.
Huh?
They belong to the high prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were.
That means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right?
It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing.
I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case. Talk about a luxury waiting area. These babies are also great for napping, you know?
You would sleep even out here, detective, in a hallway?
Whenever I do, I always wind up dreaming about giving testimony up on the stand. But it always ends the same way, me getting trounced by a lawyer. Isn't that awful?
Maybe I should give it a try sometime to envision myself winning naturally.
Hey, sup, bruh?
Hey, failure, talk to me.
It looks like you're in quite the pinch, Mr. Edgeworth.
To be sure, a murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. We must find, apprehend, and punish the killer accordingly, post-haste.
Sounds like a messy case you've got on your hands. If you ever feel lost or need some advice, my door is always open.
Oh, gracious. I will keep your offer in mind. Who is this guy again? Oh my god. Get dunked with that basketball hoop right there. Can I actually pick up the basketball and dunk on this dude? Is everything all right?
Yes, sir. If you must know, I weighed myself this morning and I'm finally at 150 pounds.
Congratulations, but I was asking about this hallway in this room.
Oh, everything's okay, sir.
A word of advice, stay focused or you may start to lose even more weight from all the salary that I'm gonna cut from you. What's a basketball hoop doing here?
Hey, didn't this used to be just outside next to the building a long time ago?
So when and why was it moved indoors?
I don't remember exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up here recently.
Drag it?
I heard that it wouldn't fit in the elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it up himself.
All the way up to the 12th floor? Let's do it, Gumshoe. 1v1. What is a basketball doing here?
That's Mr. Portsman's prized possession, sir. I heard he also plays soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis.
And not a single one of those sports is suitable to be played in a hallway.
God, Mr. Portsman gives basketballers a bad name.
I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning this case.
I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth.
Oh my god.
I want a basketball hoop in my office now.
Have you ever met the victim before?
Well, I've seen him a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portsman's office. Mr. Faith was always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir.
That sounds like fun. Just once I'd love to play with him.
It sounds fun, but the only person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Faith ever did was pass him the ball, sir.
On second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in all that well with him.
Miss Maggie Byrne, correct? I take it that you are an acquaintance of the detective?
She was under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. One day she got caught up in a murder, and things started going downhill, so she quit.
But I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer. Or so I thought until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night.
You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct?
Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures.
Oh god.
I just want to tell her everything's gonna be all right. Since I was 6 months old when I fell from the 9th floor,
yeah, that's right,
of my apartment building. I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed at almost every test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster, And now I even managed to be named a criminal 3 times, just when I've become a security guard.
That's a lot to go through in one lifetime.
I know, and just when I thought I'd finally found my happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck.
You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bird. Nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask is return for your cooperation.
Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth. You can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. Sparkle!
So when did you discover that the master key was missing?
By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir. And I noticed it was back at around 2:30 a.m. I was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. I'm sure that between those 2 times, it was not just gone, but stolen, sir.
Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place?
It's not like that, sir. You always keep the key further inside the room away from the window.
Always you say, except for this time, correct?
Well, I admit that this is a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I'd used it that I left it sitting out on the ledge.
She used the master key? What did you mean by use the master key?
Oh, I had to use it to open the door for this prosecutor who had forgotten his key.
Oh, I love the hat.
I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? Ah!
What is it?
That's right, I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key, it was Mr. Portsman, sir.
How do you forget that? What? Please tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly.
It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir.
And that's when you loaned the master key to him?
No way, it's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir.
Oh, that hair is awful. It looks like he's wearing a weird hat. I see. And then what happened after that?
Well, he called for me to come close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think.
So in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight.
Talk about suspicious.
I doubt you can say that you've never left your keys at home, Detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portman's door. Won't rest until I've inspected. God, stop saying that. Room 1203. I take it that this is Mr. Portsman's office?
Yeah, you can't mistake it because of that basketball hoop, sir. Well, that reminds me, Mr. Portsman had actually wanted room 12012 really bad, but since you're already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, we put him next door, sir.
Why was Mr. Portsman so particular about getting room 1202?
I'm not sure, but I bet it's because of something like his birthday is December 2nd.
Yep, that's gotta be it. I can't think of another reason why. I can think of at least 3. Blah. Why am I even wasting time thinking about this? The door is locked tight. Yeah, I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? This is the office of a high prosecutor, Detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them. Ah, so I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must have been who our culprit is. Might I advise you to return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you bought it from?
Oh my god. Go get that ball and just, nuts in the face dunk. Wow.
It's kind of majestic too. Fits in really well with the ambiance of the prosecutor's offices. Even Mr. Portsman seems dignified because he works behind one of these. Nonsense, a man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works. Well, he still seems more dignified than Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne? I suppose custodial work can also be dignified. Oh. Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story.
What? No way, pal. I mean, sir.
Oh, that was cute. You said that you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time.
Wow, nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I totally forgot all about that, but thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right. It was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing.
And?
Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room, sir.
Oh dear. You pretended?
Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking it up, sir.
Oh my god, that's so awesome. Just like, yeah, I'm gonna lock up this door.
Ah, see? It's locked. You heard that clicking noise, right, sir?
Oh man, I've definitely done something like that before.
I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess this door still hasn't been locked properly. Ah, and now we will find that it is locked shut.
There's a contradiction here between reality and the evidence. If what Miss Bird said is true, then why is this door locked tight? You know, you're right. Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door?
I'm certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself that I hadn't.
Which means what, sir? It either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. You opened a different door? How can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is, we need to examine these. Prints on the doorknob will tell us everything. Hey you pal, do us a favor and see what you can lift from this, okay? So, what'd you find out? There's no need for such belligerent nostril flaring, detective. Sir, I found only Mr. Portsman and Mr. Faith's prints on this doorknob. So only 2 people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. I'm lost, sir. Thinking logically, a certain other person's print should be on this knob as well. Didn't you also just have gone from door to door and start turning the knobs? Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked the door are absent? You mean, yes, the door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one. What have we here? I won't rest until I've... Oh, gosh. What is this? Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. I brought the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later. Just noticed that. What's this? What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game? That's okay, detective. I dunked on you enough tonight. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off. Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk. Like what you just did, to me and Payne, several times, nuts in our face. Positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. I'd better take note of this. Nook and cranny counter, 6. Yes, let's keep that counter, because holy shit has he done it a lot. Poking around this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. How so, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time that we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case.
You know who the killer is? Well, Mr. Edgeworth.
As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portman.
What? Mr. Portsman?
I knew it. That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me, too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir. That is anything but logical. Lady and gentlemen, prepare yourself. Come what may, it is time to knock on truth's door. Like in Full Metal Alchemist.
Mr. Portsman, I've finished processing the bloody letters, sir. All right, let's take a gander at it. Pass it here. Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this.
Bro! Wow, caught it off the bounce.
Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe.
And a line for you, Portsman. We got you now.
Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke?
It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jock Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case.
You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay if you promise to stay out of our way.
You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? You can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl.
Who would have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? A legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Really teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know?
Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for is explaining yourself. Although that, too, will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up.
Well, aren't we full of ourselves, even though you have yet to prove anything? I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here.
Sorry, but we are not finished yet.
Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something?
I'll show you what I'm basing my accusations on. D's nuts.
Okay, it made no sense. I'm way ahead of the game, so I gotta figure out how we get there. So he obviously switched the nameplates, brought Miss Bird here, had her open Edgeworth's office door, and that's how he was able to get in. He didn't have to steal it at that point. But then how'd she lose it?
Why would he have stolen it then? Unfortunately, I believe I have already shown how earlier. Your speculations mean nothing, as I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. What should I do now? Should I raise an objection? You claim to have had no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth? Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot. Very well then. And I propose that you use this to open my door.
Take that!
I believe you were able to open my office door with the master key, no less.
Objection!
Wait. Hold on for a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct... That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? But the room you had Miss Bird open at that time was not your own, was it?
What?
You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we?
I'm certain that it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir.
See, Miss Bird backs up my story. Yet, what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? Haha, and how do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example.
That's right. They do slide out pretty easily.
Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours and not in fact mine. What was it that Mr. Portman used to make Miss Bird think that it was his room?
What? The basketball hoop, sir?
It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building, which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you, and the floor. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. Gah!
It's very true, sir, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's.
There are signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit in front of my office, to be sure. I see, so that's how you throw suspicions on people. Thanks for the tip, but I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack. Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. Stupid. So he intends to claim this innocence to the end, does he? I'm as pure and innocent as my jackets. And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears.
My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday.
What, her track jacket? It's so cute, though. It's actually just like Phoenix's track jacket, except it has red feathers on it. Please calm down, for I intend to show who is the only one truly covered in slime here. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. I think I've given you quite a few reasons, actually. But none of those stand up on their own. Then what about all the evidence? God. It's all circumstantial. No judge would convict on such flimsy evidence. This guy's obviously never been in court in this country. One more little push. All I have to do is find the flaw in his testimony. I had your door dusted for prints. My door? How, what for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time. You're right, I didn't find anything, and definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Her prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her print should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Ugh! Further, all the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it.
But it doesn't change the fact that I was in my room the entire time. Is that really a fact, or is it fiction? Hey, would I lie to you? I have here proof that you were not in your room the entire time as you claim.
Take that!
This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then where were you and what were you doing? Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me, and Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office.
And just what's so funny, pal?
Oh, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world.
What? Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already.
And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down as well. Huh? I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched. Which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own handprints would be there. Framed fingerprints? Prints?
You made that up just now, don't you? Didn't you?
Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example.
You saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway?
Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse.
That's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size.
Ah, but you can't prove that, can you?
Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir.
Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I've only realized that I had one just now as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had just told you sooner. If memory served, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had the unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at that exact time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi.
Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. Those guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m.
You see, all of the evidence points to him being the culprit, so there must be a contradiction point in his alibi somewhere.
Hold it!
It is as you say, however. Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see. Oh, come now, I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh, well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. Impossible, he actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face?
Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think we've reached the end of the line and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there, sir, please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle.
Maggie, Detective Gumshoe!
Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on the alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic. You had to come back twice. Evidence points to the shelves being disturbed once before and once after the murder, but who is to say that the person who did it the second time is the same as the first? Which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight.
If indeed there were two culprits, then that resolves the contradiction behind our murder weapon. Despite the fact that there are 2 bullets here in this room, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, leaving the possibility that the other bullet was fired from the other visitor's gun. Furthermore, we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case.
Great, so you finally come to your senses.
Yeah, this game does have some really good music so far. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case.
What do you mean?
The person I ran into is just your average thief. A thief? But, sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. It means that, in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean 2? It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office. Now you're just leading the arguments. You still don't have any actual proof, you know. You could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? Why did Mr. Faith come into your own room, sir? Into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. That's when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess. Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right? He must have thought it was odd, so he came into the office to check it out. Correct, and as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. That was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had already also left the fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another? Visitor, sir? Yes, and this other person's object was to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. Stolen no file, right, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice in the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing these things at 2 different times. Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief and was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant, because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit. What's so funny, pal?
Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything.
Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all.
But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Suppose if, and that's a big if, your theory is right. It would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor.
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point.
Don't say that, sir.
I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must.
You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. The person you met really was just a plain old thief. Then why was that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've said already, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. Do you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course, now isn't the time to be wasting time on dead-end discussions. I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I wish I had that Magatama in order to see those psycho locks of his. I just have to find a way to prove it.
What do I think of the case so far? It's interesting. It's holding my interests. He's good as an antagonist, I feel. Bringing Maggie back was nice, because I love Maggie. It is taking a turn for the convoluted, but we'll see how it shakes out. The music's really good.
Actually, no, it wouldn't. Why not? That's elementary. The dying message, of course. Mr. Faith's killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files, and it was after they were on there that the thief stole one of them.
You mean the old file, right?
And that's how we know the letters themselves were a setup and not from Mr. Faith. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves? Maybe the killer just didn't think of that either.
Yeah, that must be it. Maybe, just maybe.
Once escaped, I highly doubt a thief would linger nearby.
Okay, is that not a reason to look for them?
Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't get what they were really after. Oh, you talk like you know quite a bit about this thief.
It's nothing like that. I have no idea about anything, after all.
He brought me 2 items, a gun and a pendant, that are related to yesterday's case.
A gun and a pendant.
Yes, this gun, which was the murder weapon, and this pendant, which belonged to the victim.
Why were you taking them to Criminal Affairs?
There was something in a past case file I wanted to compare these two to.
I hate when that happens.
But all this has nothing to do with this case right now. Anyway, I believe you'll find the long paper trail I left to be to your satisfaction.
Who would say that? Who would say it like that?
This is all matching up to what Detective Gumshoe found out. Only 2 pieces? I believe this proper phrase here is, you fail.
Not Edgeworth's snappiest line.
You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me.
What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you.
Well, here's a piece I think you should read carefully.
It says that Mr. Faith is bringing 3 pieces.
Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman.
I can't believe to get tripped up by simple arithmetic.
Where is your missing piece of evidence?
You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. So many times, in fact. Detective Gumshoe. You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Oh, don't come any closer, I'm warning you. This is all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir.
Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide.
Well, why would he hide something like that?
There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber.
Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. This doesn't taste like chocolate.
Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail for the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. The KG-8 incident?
That's a police case number, sir. Does that mean this video is evidence from that case?
Interesting. However, what's recorded on this isn't what's important right now. Let's give the casing a thorough once-over.
Wow, that's blood, isn't it?
Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh.
You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood?
No, you've got it all wrong. No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video.
Yeah, it's totally suspicious.
Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him?
You know very well there's no way to prove that.
Well, even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints?
Gah! And that, my friends, is what we call direct evidence.
If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderers, you and Mr. Faith.
No, impossible.
Dude ate his own medal.
Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Did you manage to get that? It looked like he might have been choking on that. It looked like he might have been choking on that metal. I mean, not that I care. Very good. And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back, and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir.
It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apology.
Oh, it's nothing. Really, compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a holdup or hostage situation, I'd been throwing my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of a misfortune to just an unlucky person.
Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail.
You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor.
And why would you say he was corrupt?
Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court case. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir.
Forged evidence, huh?
They say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reason. Oh, that guy was in complete disgrace to the entire profession.
We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office.
Yeah, whatever we got near the target, he just climbed up.
Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something.
It's just between you and me, sir, but
there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh, well. Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this.
Ah, that Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy?
I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance of this piece of evidence.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night.
Yeah, I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages?
I wonder who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint and had the misfortune of deciding not to kill me?
Mr. Edgeworth, sir.
Yes?
I came across this while I was prosecuting your sorry, just in the mood for prosecuting. I'm just in awe, I'm awestruck. Anyways, while I was processing your office earlier, sir.
This card. I have no idea what it is. What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? For Maggie Bird. It's not just any bird, it's the mark of the raven. A three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective.
Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about.
Yes, it is the mark of the great thief Yatakarasu. Yatakarasu. Something similar. That's close. That's a mouthful. Saying it in that voice. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yagatarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yagatarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yagatarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is set forth. Indeed, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without the target even noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card, although it has been a while since the Yagatarasu's last appearance.
Hey, Miss Redwood, something's written on the back. What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files.
Well, the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yagatarasu? Yagatarasu. Organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief Yagatarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming, or they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago.
Okay. Oh, I missed that face. I'm excited to see her new sprites. It seems like this game, I could be wrong, because it could just do it like game 1 or game 3, and where it's connected but not everything is connected. Not all the cases are connected, but it would be interesting if they go the route of this is related to this is related to this is related to this, and like it goes through like an entire arc of mysteries that are all interrelated to each other, which could be either really good if it's executed well, or it could end up being really bad if it becomes way too convoluted and they botch it. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited though to see what happens so far. I mean, like, the villain was good. I mean, he wasn't amazing, but he was good. He was insufferable, which was good. Maggie, one thing that I really like is, despite this being a different author, I think the characters were still written within themselves. The only thing I don't like about how the characters are written so far is that one thing that I think I really appreciate about Edgeworth is that when we were him in the third game, in Trials and Tribulations, he actually came off as a little less arrogant than you thought his, like, it was almost like that was more of a facade. Underneath that, he's more of a normal person. And here he just carries it with him the entire time. So I hope they tone that down a little bit. On the other hand, it did feel nice to be the person in control the entire time. 'Cause even when, like, he was contradicted, you're still just like, he's about to dunk on him. It's like, you don't even care. He's not like Phoenix, who's like, Monka. It's gonna feel like there's something missing in that you don't get to prosecute the cases, but at the same time, the change in, you get to do similar things with, with finding evidence and stuff like that. You just apply them differently. It's a nice change of pace. So I don't mind that. So thank you everybody for watching. Until next time, take it easy. Court is adjourned.